top focus this afternoon. The government has decided to set up a task force led by Nandan Nilekani to recommend reforms to India's examination system. The Infosys co-founder will have 5 more members in the team, and this came a day after Dharmendra Pradhan announced his resignation. Now, Prime Minister Modi announced the formation of a high-powered task force to recommend the comprehensive reforms to the examination system. Listen in to Prime Minister's Instagram message where he addressed the youth with these reforms.
फ्रेंड्स, विद्यार्थियों के भविष्य के लिए भारत सरकार लगातार अनेकविध कदम उठा रही है। जिन लोगों ने विद्यार्थियों के भविष्य के साथ खिलवाड़ किया, वे जेलों में सड़ रहे हैं। हमने फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट बना चुके हैं। हम कल पार्लियामेंट के अंदर भी कठोर कानूनों के प्रावधान के साथ नया कानून बनाने की दिशा में भी आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। लेकिन हमें भविष्य के लिए सोचना है। हमारी परीक्षा पद्धति विश्वस्त हो, हमारी परीक्षा पद्धति ट्रांसपेरेंट हो, हमारी परीक्षा पद्धति में सबसे ज्यादा टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग हो। इन सारी बातों को ध्यान में रखते हुए विश्व प्रसिद्ध टेक्नोलॉजी एक्सपर्ट श्रीमान नंदन नीलेकनी जी के नेतृत्व में एक हाई पावर टास्क फोर्स बनाने का निर्णय किया है, जो एग्जामिनेशन रिफॉर्म की तरफ फोकस करेगा और जल्द से जल्द आने वाली परीक्षाओं की विश्वसनीयता को सुनिश्चित करने का काम इसके रिपोर्ट के आधार पर कर दिया जाएगा। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
So this was the message of the Prime Minister in one of the major steps to resolve the concerns over the education and examination system. The government has formed a high-powered task force. This panel will recommend long-term reforms aimed at strengthening the security of India's examination system. Joining us live exclusively is IIT Madras Director Dr. V. Kamakoti, who is one of the members of the high-powered task force on National Testing Agency. Good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Kamakoti. You have been given a very big task. The Prime Minister has trusted you to be a part of this task force, because we've seen from nationwide protests, one thing that has been very, very clear, that the confidence in the examination system has been shaken. As part of this task force, what will be your biggest priority to restore that trust in the examination system?
For any examination system, there are 2 eyes to the examination system. One is a leak-proof examination where the question paper should not be made available before the actual exam commences. And the next thing is a transparent examination system. The definition of transparency here is quite clear, that if a student is awarded, say, 90 marks out of 100, the student must know why that 90 marks, why he got 90 marks. So these 2 are very important. In the last several years, as a country, we have been conducting this large-scale public examinations. When I wrote JEE in 1985, it was basically a paper and pen exam, subjective examination. There were only 5,000 students. Now there are 1.5 million students aspiring to come into the IITs. So the scale is improving, and the recently concluded All India's survey on higher education also puts the GER, the gross enrollment ratio, has increased to 30%, which is a very welcome, welcome statistics for our country. More and more children are going to come into the examination system, and they are going to basically, compete for the very important professional seats. Now, given that technology intervention there is no way, we have to go only with technology intervention. Digital technology is going to play a very important role. Digital technology to basically facilitate the examination and also ensure security, also ensure that there is no impersonation, is also very, very important. So I think how we deploy this technology in a foolproof manner so that transparency and leak-proof examination could be done is the challenge now. And that's what this committee will be covering.
That's right. But, there are some concerns that the students have as well, because the students have heard promises before. Why should they believe that this task force will deliver where the previous reforms have fallen short? What is the assurance that you want to give the students that this time things are going to be different?
Yeah, so let us just go to NEET 2024, where there was a leak that had happened. But that leak happened when the question paper was transferred from a distribution center to an examination center. And at that time, the investigation agencies, the CBI, actually, was very clear that the leak was very contained. It was contained to maximum of 40, 30, 40 or 50 students. And all those students involved are identified. So the examination per se was not compromised. And this was also challenged in the Honorable Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court spent more than 3 to 4 days hearing this case exclusively. The Chief Justice bench heard it and then finally, declared that re-examination is not necessary. Now, at that point, the government immediately constituted, the Ministry of Education constituted a task force with Dr. Radhakrishnan as the chairperson. The task force actually did a vast, they took a lot of opinions, etc., and came out with their 250 plus recommendations. The report was made public also. Now, when we look at 2026, when the examination papers were leaked, there was no issue with when the question paper left the premises of NTA, then it went for printing, then it was put in boxes, and it was basically sent to different centers. There was absolutely no problem in that. The leak did not happen after the question left the NTA.
Okay.
So I just want to tell you, in every process, there is some root of trust. We trust some people. And in an examination, we trust 2 classes of people. One is the question paper setter, the person who sets the question paper. They are teachers, and teaching is a very noble profession. And we certainly take it that they are honest, and it's a root of trust.
Yes.
Now, in this case of NEET 2026, unfortunately, the question paper, as we see in the newspaper, some of the newspaper reports, the leak happened because of the question paper setter. So the root of trust was actually shattered there. And so that was the issue. There is significant effort that has been put from NEET 2024 to NEET 2026 in the distribution, printing and distribution of papers.
Okay.
But then here the problem came from somewhere else. And subsequently lessons were learnt about it, and the re-NEET that happened again in 2026 in the month of June. At that point, the re-NEET was done without any issue, right from the question paper distribution, etc. So every examination teaches multiple lessons, and then I think as a system, over last several years, last 50, 60 years, we have been learning, many lessons, and these lessons are basically put into certain practice, into certain reforms. And I think what this committee, it's also time that we look at the entire set of leaks, entire set of remedial measures that have been taken, put together, and take the best practices and put into one nutshell and take it forward.
Okay. It's an interesting thought that you have said that every examination is also a learning process, because the students have been very angry about the fact that there have been paper leaks. But you have also been a part of the AI task force. So how will AI and technology be used to make examinations leak-proof?
Yeah, number one is that, will AI set the entire question paper? I think we are very far off. AI also has its own limitations in certain being very monolithic, setting one. So if you talk about the same monolithic way of it trying to do certain actions, what we see in many of these LLM, it may become, the same type or same, what I can say, the same characterization of these questions can happen, which may not give you a diversity. So these are some things we need to examine. So will AI basically set the entire question paper, it's a long shot. However, there will be, even if you assume that it can do, there will be a human in the loop, and that human needs to be trusted. And that is very, very important. So trust is extremely important there. The next thing is, so AI can be used for translation purposes. NEET is a very inclusive examination, and we have at least 13 12 to 13 languages in which NEET is basically done. I think that is also very, very important. There AI can be used, but again there will be a human in the loop to check the correctness of the translation. Now, more than that, the monitoring. See, there are two, as I told you, there are two people that we need to be trusting. One is the question paper setter, another is the invigilator. In the examination hall, if the invigilator tries to help some student, etc., again there will be an issue. So in many examinations like NEET now, we have put the camera there inside the center, and the camera basically can monitor, but there are hundreds of centers for sure, right? So watching every center is going to be a very Herculean task, and it can also be over a period of time. It can, the attentivity can be, attentivity of an individual just looking at a camera can be, sometimes we may miss. So AI can be used there to see any activity like okay. Somebody going and two people talking, then it can immediately flag this particular camera in this particular room of this particular center at this particular time. There is some activity there. So these type of things we can use AI for monitoring. So I think there are a lot of interventions that we can do to see that the examination is foolproof.
Okay, all right. Dr. Kamakoti, you and the other experts have a very huge responsibility at a time when the entire country is going to be watching all the reforms very, very closely. You're a part of this government's high-powered task force, and thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. On that note, we're slipping into a very short break here. We'll be right back. Stay with us.